So remember, there are two approaches that I've said to doing proofs. There's what I've called the top-down, and there's what I've called the bottom-up. With the bottom-up, you would ignore the conclusion and just see what you can do. Now, in this case, there's not something you can immediately do. However, there's something that you can sort of set up fairly quickly. So, for example, you got this M here. You can't do modus ponens or modus tollens or disjunctive syllogism or anything with that because it's not by itself. But where does it show up elsewhere in the premises? Line 2. It shows up as part of the antecedent of a conditional. Now, if you had the antecedent of that conditional, you could do what?
Modus ponens.
Modus ponens. Is there a way that you can get that fairly easily? Yes, you can do addition. So let's do that. And I'm going to take probably one extra step than you would, which is, because I'm going to add L on the right, just because that's the normal way we do addition. And then I'm going to do commutation to change the order around. And then what am I going to do next?
Modus ponens.
Modus ponens, what, 2 lines? Somebody who hasn't said anything? What was that? Lines?
2 and 5.
Line 2 and 5. And what's that going to give me?
Okay.
Not K. Okay, we're still just messing around. We haven't really looked at the conclusion yet. Now that I've got not K, is there something I can do with that not K? Well, look where K shows up elsewhere. So obviously, don't look at line 2 because that's where we got it from. But is there another line where K shows up? Line 1. Can we use not K with line 1?
Use contraposition on line 1.
You could do contraposition and then modus ponens, or you could just do modus tollens. Each of those are equally right, but one is just quicker. So if we do modus tollens, now, one advantage to doing that, contraposition and then modus ponens, is if you find yourself making mistakes with modus tollens, and some people forget to add the tilde in modus tollens. So if I do modus tollens, what 2 lines? 1 and 6. What will that give me? It'll give me whatever the antecedent is with a tilde in front of it. So not I or J. Okay, let's pause at this moment, and now we've just been messing around. Up to this point, we've just been messing around to see what we could do. Now I'm going to remind myself what the conclusion is. Oh, it's not J. Can I get not J out of this? I can do it in 2 steps.
Distribution.
Not distribution. See, I knew I'd regret that. It is the thing that distributes the tilde, but it's not distribution. It's De Morgan's law. So if I do De Morgan's law, somebody who hasn't said anything yet, what will that give me? De Morgan's law to 9-7 gives me what? Was he right?
Not I and.
Not I and. And that's a crucial point because of what you're going to do next. What are you going to do next, everybody? Simplification. Of which side? Stupid question. Not J. And what do you do next?
Stop.
Nothing, because you're done. That's the conclusion. The other possibility, of course, is you could get a conditional and convert it into a disjunction by implication. Or finally, what 2 inference rules have as their conclusion a disjunction? The dilemmas, constructive and destructive. And you might think to yourself, why might those occur to you? Because of line 2. If you look, line 2, you have a conjunction of 2 conditionals. And the consequence of each of those conditionals are the consequence of this. So this looks like this would be one of the premises, and this would be the conclusion of constructive dilemma. So in order to do that, you need to get the other premise. What is the other premise that you would need here to get this conclusion? D or F. Aha. Well, here's D, and here's F. Now, you might think, well, maybe I can simplify that, but no, you can't, because this is a disjunction. So, what to do? Any suggestions? None at all? Nope, you can't simplify number one. Although you have a conjunction here, it's trapped in parentheses. You can only simplify when the entire line is a conjunction. What you can do, suppose you have something that looks like this. Suppose you have something that looks like this. Circle or parentheses, triangle and square. What rules should occur to you? Distribution. What would that give you if you did distribution to that? Circle or triangle, yes. And circle or square. Well, why am I bringing this up? Answer, because you have got something like that. If you treat this as a single unit, if you treat this a bit like circle. So if I treat that as a single unit, I will have D and E or F. Keep going. And D and E or G. Now, this was by distribution to line 1. The advantage of this is what it is. It's a conjunction. What can you do with conjunction? Simplify them. Which side do I want? Do I want the left side or the right side? The left side. Why do I want the left side? Because what we're trying to get is D or F. And this has D and it has F in it. This doesn't have F in it. So I want this side. And it will give me D and E or F. But it's still not exactly what we want because of that pesky E. What to do now? What's that?
Do it again.
Sure, why not? So if I do distribution again to line 4, what will it be? I'm going to do it in a slightly unusual order this time, but you should be able to handle it. What will that give me if I do distribution to line 4? D what? D or F and E or F. Does everyone see that? Remember, you treat it like as if it was like 2 plus 3A. That would give you 2A plus 3A. That's a bit what, so you've got, instead of the 2 you have D, and instead of the multiply you have OR. Alright, now what? How many stages are we from the finish line? How many more lines does this proof need?
3.
I think just 2. What's the next line? Simplification, line 5. What side do I want? I want D or F. Why do I want D or F? So I can do constructive dilemma, what 2 lines? 2 and 6. So we have if D then H and if F then I. D or F will give us H or I. which is the conclusion. So basically, the way that worked is we worked out, we saw this, we saw that these were the consequences of them, and we thought to ourselves, because we'd learned all our rules so thoroughly, what jumped out at us was constructive dilemma. And then we said, well, to do constructive dilemma, I need D or F. And then all of the rest of this was just about getting D or F, because we knew we needed D or F to get constructive dilemma. All right. As I said, if that was a little scary to you, I'm sorry. That one was a fairly tricky one. But practice makes perfect.